Yo, what up, everybody? One Africa Forum. Your boy, I'm back here today for day 22. Day 22 of One Africa Forum. So, if you're joining me right now, guys, let me know in the comment section where you're joining from. We're going to have a short conversation today, again, to talk, because I believe there's only one way to have unity that we talk about all the time. And there might be a lot of ways there, but one way that I believe in is a conversation for a better tomorrow. A conversation is the beginning for everything. It's the start of everything. So we're just gonna sit down here and have a conversation again today about things that matters a lot to us, about things that are happening in our continent, about things that we wish to see change happening in our continent. So if you're joining me right now, guys, let me know where you're joining me from. I'm trying to focus on the camera right now, because what is happening right now, it's something urgent. It's something that we all need to come together and do something about it. It might be just having conversation like what we're doing right now. It's for a better tomorrow. It might be praying. It's for a better tomorrow. It might be raise our voice to our brothers and sisters that are out there and showing them or telling them that we care what is happening to you. We see what is going on. Maybe what we see, it's only what is happening on the news. We don't really understand what is going on, but we feel you. As our brothers, as our sisters, we feel you. You're one of us, you're Africans, we feel you. And we're here to let you know that we are standing with you in this time. I think you all guys have seen what is happening in Sudan. What is happening in Sudan? My first instinct, it was, I want to be coming here to talk about good things that are happening in Africa. That was my first instinct. That I want to come down here to talk about how to improve or to celebrate what is happening in our continent. I want to be coming out here to talk about the unit that we have, right? And how our continent is changing, how it's improving, how we see a lot of young folks there who are making difference to our communities. But sadly, unfortunately, most of the time when I come here, they're talking about the crisis. We're talking about people dying. We're talking about authoritarian governments. We're talking about selfishness. We're talking about people being kidnapped. Talking about war. Talking about planning to go on a war. So much negativity. And maybe some of you are tired already. You know that One Africa Forum, we always talk about these crazy things that are going on that we don't even want to talk about them. You might be tired, and I cannot blame you, because myself, I'm tired too. I'm tired too sometimes. I want to talk about something else. But we cannot ignore what is happening. We have to talk about it. If you have pain in your body, you cannot just cover yourself every single day and go out there without finding out what is the problem, finding out where is the pain coming from, without talking about it. Even when you go to a doctor and you're telling him that, or her, let's say, telling him or her that, you know what, I think I have some problem here. You have to show where you have problem. You have to talk about it. When you're going through pain of losing beloved one, you cannot just ignore not talking about it because you don't want to feel pain anymore. No, you have to talk about it. We have to let the process of mourning, you have to go through that process. Some people, they break up and they don't want to go through that pain, so they go out and find rebound. You have to go through that, because going through that, it's helping you to become another person. But when you don't want to go through that and you pass as if nothing is happening, nothing has happened, then you're putting someone in the risk, someone that will be with you later on. And one day you're gonna look back, you're not gonna recognize yourself. You're not gonna recognize where you are and why you're going what you're going, because you don't know where it started. So we are talking about this because it's necessary to talk about it. Even though I don't want it. Honestly, I don't want it. So the title of what we're gonna talk about today is this one. Let me tell you guys. What we're gonna talk about today is, let me see here. Yeah. When are we going to stop? When are we gonna stop? All right. When are we going to stop? And there's a reason why I put it there. My first title that I wrote was, "When are we going to stop this?" Well, it's the same pretty much. And it's a question that I don't have answer to. But one thing I know, that we need to have this conversation. Well, what's going on in Sudan? It's not pleasing. It's not. It's bad. And right now, when you go to the news, that's the only thing you find everywhere about what's going on in Sudan. That's what you find everywhere. What's going on there, guys? There's nothing else you're gonna find out there but what is going on in Sudan. That's what you'll find everywhere. With all people with all the news, mega news, I've seen in all the mega news, this is what is going on, and everybody's talking about that. Let me just shout out to people here who are watching before I move on. Well, we have Amina Salah from the UK. Hey, what's up? And we have Ane Wairim. Hey, what's up? It's good to see you guys coming here today and having this conversation. Yeah, so that's the only thing that you'll hear happening. That's the only thing you'll see in the news. On the news, what is going on. And why not talking about it? You know, Sudan has been in a civil war for a long time. Since 1965. Guys, 1965. That's what I've heard. It has been in this situation for a long time. And I know a couple of years back, the military and the civilians, they actually agreed to lead the country together, and that's what was happening. I don't know in detail what really going on inside, but I feel like there's a need for us to have a conversation about this. We might not have a solution of what to do. We might not have a solution of what's going to happen, but we have a voice. Because one thing that when you're going through something difficult, one thing that you need to hear, you need to feel that you're not alone. Most of the time when you're going through something difficult, you feel like you're alone. You feel like nobody understands you. You feel like nobody sees you. You feel like nobody pay attention to you. And that is the worst feeling, because that's when you feel lonely. Some people, they will think that it's better to die than to live. Some people will just run away and disappear, because it's a worse feeling knowing that you are alone. But what I want us to do, One Africa family, Swahili Nation family, is that to let people know, to let Sudanese people know that, you know what, we're here with you guys. We might not understand what you're going through. We might not have the solution or the answer of what you're going through, but we are standing with you. We are with you. I know that Prime Minister has been captured and some other leaders. But I want us to raise a voice to the people of Sudanese. Let's assume that they will see this video, and let's assume that they're watching this. The best thing we can do is letting them know that we are with you guys. And this situation, what is happening right now, it's not going to last there forever. And I know this is ridiculous because the crisis that has been happening there, it has been since 1965. Can you imagine, guys? That's a long time. But we want Africa. And when our brothers and sisters are going through something difficult, we need to show them that we are standing with you. So today, at the end of this, we'll have some moment to pray. Everybody can pray in your own religion and whatever you believe in. Oh, man. Actually, I gotta be real with you, man. Africa, I love Africa, man. And if you want to see what is going on in Africa, just love it. Because when you love something, you begin to see the true color of it. And man, there's so many crises going on in Africa. So many crises, man. So many crises. And I don't even know where they're coming from. I don't know where they're ending. I have no idea what's the solution. But I just know that we need to talk about it. And we need to be one and to be united. Because what is going on in Sudan, it has everything to do with us, the rest of other countries that is not Sudan. And we have to care about it, and we have to talk about it. Yes, every country is going through something, but man, this is urgent. There's a coup. Coup happened in Sudan. It just happened. I was watching news here, guys. Let me show you something here. Just in case if you don't know anything, let me read for you guys this little article here, so that you guys may get at least an idea of what is happening. Maybe you don't know what is happening, so let me help you by doing this. Okay, I've seen this news and I'm just gonna read it real quick. Can you guys see that? Yes, you see it. Sudan Coup, a really simple guide. All right, this is a very simple guide by BBC. They say this. The coup taking place in Sudan, where the Prime Minister and his cabinet have been arrested and the government dissolved, is the latest crisis in a turbulent period for the country. On top of the political tension, Sudanese economy has been in a deep crisis with high inflation and shortages of food, fuel, and medicine. Food, fuel, and medicine, guys. The coup has alarmed many international powers who have only recently been forging relations with Sudan after years of isolation. Here is what you need to know. The first thing, what's the background of the coup? Just in case if you don't know, for those who don't know what is happening. Okay, military and civilian leaders have been sharing power since August 2019, after Sudanese long-term authoritarian President Omar al-Bashir was overthrown. Bashir was toppled by the military but mass street demonstrations demanding civilian rule forced the military to negotiate a plan aimed at moving to a democratic government. The country is now supposed to be in that transition, with civilians and military leaders running the country together on a joint committee known as the Sovereign Council. But the two groups have been publicly at odds. What is behind tension? All right, here this out. Military leaders in the transitional government have demanded reforms from the civilian counterparts and called for the cabinet to be replaced. This was dismissed as a power grab by civilian leaders. There have been several failed coups since 2019, the most recent of them just last month. The top civilian figure, Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok, blamed Bashir loyalists, many of whom are said to be embedded in the military security service and other state institutions. And recent weeks saw pro-army demonstrators buzzed into the capital, as well as large spontaneous counter-protests backing the prime minister. The pro-military protesters accused the government of failing to revive the country's fortunes. Mr. Hamdok moves to reform the economy, including slashing fuel subsidies, have been unpopular with some. Sudan's political frame has a long precedent. In previous decades, the splintering of political parties and their inability to build consensus has time to again paved the way for the military to step in, mounting coups under the pretext of restoring order, as regional analysis might this and this and that. Today in Sudan, there are at least 80 political parties. This same factionalism plagues the Sovereign Council, where internal divisions among both the military and civilian camps pushed political consensus yet further out of reach. What is happening now? The head of Sovereign Council has given a speech announcing a state of emergency and dissolving both the cabinet and the council. Gen Abdel Fattah also said the election would be held in July 2023. I think they're supposed to do elections soon. Prime Minister Hamdok was reported detained by soldiers early in the day, along with several other ministers. It also appears that the state TV and radio headquarters have been taken over by the military. The internet has also been restricted, so there's no way they're gonna see this. The African Union, the UN, and the EU, as well as the Arab Leagues and the US, have expressed deep concerns over Monday Coup. African Union, man, again. All right. What might happen next? This coup is not necessarily a done deal, suggests African analysis, unless it was given this whenever the military has tried. Anyways, I think that's, if you didn't know what is happening, guys, I think you kind of understand what is going on. Let me see here. I want to see what African Union said. Okay, here's what African Union said. I think I saw it here. Yeah, African Union says it learned with deep dismay about the events in Sudan and has called for the immediate resumption of dialogue between the military and civilians. All right. Okay, that's not bad. They call for immediate resumption of dialogue between the military and civilians. This is what has supposed to be done. The United States says it deeply alarmed the U.S. Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa, expressed support for the transitional government, and said a coup would contravene the democratic aspiration of the Sudanese people. The UN has condemned the coup and involved Sudan, said that the intention were unacceptable and called to all parties to immediately return to dialogue. The Arab League said, okay, even European Union here. Foreign policy chief called on all stakeholders and regional partners to put the process back on track. Okay, so African Union, they spoke about it. Called for immediate resumption of dialogue between military and civilian. What do you do about it? Yes, you call for that dialogue, but what if they don't listen? What if they don't want to have that dialogue? You need to have a way to enforce that to happen. Because definitely that we need to see the conversation between these two different parties. You know what I'm saying? The military and civilian. Alright guys, I'll go ahead and I'll share the link in the comment section. If you have something that you want to share with us about what is going on, please feel free to come to join and also share it with us. That will mean a lot. Yeah guys, so this is what is happening, and I think if you didn't know anything that is going on in Sudan, at least for now, you know that things like this are happening and there's something that has to be done, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, what can we do? African Union has called upon that as well, so that's a good thing, because when I was watching news this couple minutes ago, and I saw that only the United Nations spoke about it, and they say that, you know what, we are standing with the people of Sudan. We're standing with Sudanese people. But it's sad because I came here today, guys, because as One Africa, as people from Africa, I want us to send a message to Sudanese people to tell them that, you know what, we are standing with you. You guys in this crisis and where you're going, you are not alone. We're here standing with you. We might not understand what is going on. We may not understand when things are going to turn around, but we are here with you. We are not waiting for African Union to go and to put some forces there to do something. No, we can actually do something right now, right here. And that by sending these messages and telling them that, you know what, we're here for you. And if you have a friend, Sudanese friend, you're in touch with, you're in contact with, please do not hesitate to reach out to them and tell them your mind. Tell them that you're standing with them. Don't start elaborate the problem and the issues, but just tell them that I am here with you. Because that's what it means to be One Africa. That's what it means to be united. That I am there. I might not feel the same way you do feel. I might not lose things that you're losing, but I'm gonna be there standing with you. I'm gonna be there crying with you. If you want the crying shoulder, I'll be there. I'll give you my shoulder for you to lean on to cry on. That's what I will do. Because there's such a beautiful in unity. There's the beautiness in unity. When you know that you're not alone and what you're going through is not just your own thing, but it's collectively. This is Africa issue. This is Africa thing. All right. I said at the beginning that I'm always really depressed and I don't feel okay. And I don't want it. Like I don't want coming here and every single day One Africa Forum to talk about crises that are going on around the world. I hate that and I don't want to do it. I want to talk about productive things. I want to talk about positive things. But we cannot move on and talk about that while there's still issues we're still dealing with right now. When you do that, you know what happens? The normal civilians, they're the one who they're getting into trouble. They're the one that they're not going to get food. They're the one that they're going to die. When two top dogs are fighting, kids are the one that are suffering. They're going to struggle. When dad and mom are fighting, when dad and mom gets a divorce, kids, they're going to struggle. Not then they'll move on, they'll be with somebody else, but kids, they're going to have a huge change in their lives. They always used to see dad and mom, but now they see mommy and uncle or daddy and auntie. That's what they see. It's a huge change. And it's not something that we need to care about. Man, I don't know what, like, man, now I understand, man. That's why sometimes all these organizations, they come and they interfere, man, because issues with Africa, it just seems like it's never going to stop. It's happening every single time. Like you have crisis here, you have there, you have there, you have there, you have there, at the same damn time. Man, how are we gonna get out of this? That's why my topic today is, when are we gonna stop this? When are we gonna stop this? When are we going to wake up? I need to change to that. When are we going to wake up, guys? When are we going to wake up, Africa? When are we going to wake up? Seriously, like, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up, man? When are we going to realize that we are one people? When are we going to realize that when we do all this stuff, we're hurting our own people? We're hurting the normal civilians. We're hurting people who are finding life to provide for their own families and for their own people. Those are people we are hurting. We're hurting people that God cares for them. We're hurting people that God gave them ability to be alive. We're hurting them. And hurting people is not a beautiful thing. It's an awful thing. In Africa, we need to get out of this, man. We have to get out of this. I don't know how we can get out of this, but we have to get out of this. I just know that I just need to talk about it. I have to get out of this, man. I know you feel the same thing. That's why you're here right now watching and listening to this boring speech. I know you feel the same way. Man, I wish I was not here to talk about this. But when are we going to wake up and get out of this? Man, if your country is about to go under crisis or trouble, man, you're the one can stop it. People, we can stop it from moving to that direction. We can simply start that by starting loving one another, by start extending grace to one another, wanting peace with one another, wanting unity with one another. We can start from there and move forward, man. You can do it. Because everything is possible. There's nothing impossible under the sun, man. Look at this, all these things that, Africa Union have said, UN has said, US has said. Man, guys, a lot of you guys sometimes have asked that why, it seems like when this country is going through crisis, only that country is going through crisis. Other countries, they don't say anything. Very few leaders you find out speaking about issues like this, but not every. I think another reason, guys, not just because people, they don't care, but another reason is because it's too much. Every single day you'll be offering a statement to some another country out there to talk about the crisis that is going on. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case. Every single day you'll be offering a statement to talk about what is happening. Which is tiring, man. Because these issues are happening every time. Alright, so enough with the talk. I want us to reach to a place where we can find a solution. This is my suggestion what we can do. First, let's pray for Sudan. Let's pray for Sudan. Your country might have your own issue, but I'm asking you this for once. Forget about that and practice love. Love someone who is not looking the same way you do, someone who, whatever that happens to you, it doesn't matter anything to you. Let's try to practice that. And today, keep Sudan in your prayer. At the end of this live stream, we'll pray for a bit. In your own language, in your own religion, we'll pray for a bit. All right? That's the first thing we can do. Because there's nothing else we can do. But I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that when we call God and we ask Him about our nations, our people, God will hear and God will go and will heal and will save. I believe in that power. And when we pray collectively, there's something amazing is going to happen. That's the first thing. Second thing, let's talk about it. If you can post on your social media, if you can say something on your social media, please go and say and tag Sudan. Let them know that we are there for you. Let them know that you are there. You hear what they're doing. You understand what is happening. Tag. Hashtag pray for Sudan. Tag them. Do whatever that you can do. But let them know. Let the media know. Let the internet know that we are there, we Africans, and we are standing with Sudanese people. Do that. You do these two things. You do these two things, guys. You do these two things. It's so much more. It's so much more. You don't even need to do anything else. Just do these two things. And I'm telling you, you're not doing even for people of Sudan, but you're doing for God, because, man, God is asking us to do this, asking us to love one another. He's asking us to pray for one another. And especially when your neighbor is going through something difficult, you know, you have to remember them and you have to keep them in your prayer. So forget about your country. Forget about what is happening there today. Today, guys, today. Remember Sudan. Remember Sudan. If you have a friend, call, text, and everything. This is what we can do. Because if I was in a position of making decision as a leader, I would have said something. But I'm in a position of an African. And I still believe that I have a role to play. And I believe you have that part and you have that role to play. So get involved. Be involved. Let me read this comment. Gelaya, it's good to see you again. He said, I feel the same way. I'm tired of news about war and drought in Africa. Yes, brother. Yes. Love from Ethiopia. Minil, I appreciate that. I'm tired too. I'm tired too. I'm tired of this news. I'm tired to talk about this all the time. I'm tired, man. But, you know, you never know. Maybe that's why One Africa Forum is right here. To just talk about that. Have a conversation about it. Let me say this, guys. I know it seems like impossible. And I know the situation, it seems like it's hopeless and helpless. Seems like we can never get out of this deep hole. Seems like we cannot see where even we're going because it's too dark. The way it's too dark to see where we're going. But let me encourage you that I know we're going to get through this. I know with everything in my heart, I know we're going to get through this. You guys, you might have been struggling for years now, for 20, 30, 40. It doesn't matter. But we are going to get through this. You might be struggling for decades. Doesn't matter. We're going to get through this. Because we are talking about it. We are praying for it. We're going to get through this. It's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. Everything that is happening, they're not going to last forever. They're not. We're going to get through this. So please take heart, take courage, and know that God is with you. And know that God is standing with Africa, with Sudan, with Ethiopia, with Somalia, with Kenya, with Tanzania, with Uganda, with Rwanda, with Burundi, with Congo, with Togo, with Nigeria, with Ghana, with Egypt, with Tunisia, with Morocco, with Swaziland, with South Africa, with Gabon, man, with Niger, man, with Botswana, with Mozambique, with Malawi, man, with all those countries, man, and other countries that I didn't mention. God is with them, and He's with you. All right, guys. So before I leave, that's it for today, guys. And before I leave, we're just gonna take a moment, to pray for Sudan. Wherever you are, guys, doesn't matter what is your religion, because that's not what I'm promoting here. The matter of fact, I'm gonna promote God, because God is for everyone. You know what I'm saying? So we are going to take a moment and to pray for Sudan and for what is happening there. So take a moment, whatever you are, pray, and I'll be praying here for Sudan, and then I'll be finishing our forum for today. Amen. All right, guys, that was a moment to pray for what is happening in Sudan, and I hope you did the same too. I see Dano Moja, it's been a while, my brother. Say Sawam Kumika PLO, my countryman puts it in a black and white. That's amazing. I appreciate, brother. Oh, my brother here, Essence, from I believe from the Gambia, if I'm not mistaken. Libya, Sudan, and many more countries in Africa were played. They encouraged them to rebel against their leaders for democracy. They never recovered. Crisis upon crisis. We pray for better Africa. Yes, brother. We pray for that. Pray for that. I'm tired of seeing these things happening again and again and again. And we have to put to stop. You have to put to stop. How to put to stop. I have to put to stop, man. Like, guys, if you see me like I don't have energy, it's because of these things, man. Whenever I see these things happening, they really take my energy, man. Like, I've been watching news and I've been catching up with what happened because I really wanted to do this and come here and to share with you guys and to ask you guys to come to join our hands together and to pray for Sudan. And but going through that, man, is just taking my energy away, really. Like it's taking my energy away. Like, just last week we were talking about crisis between Kenya and Somalia, which is still there. And we've been talking for a long time about what is happening in Ethiopia. Spoke about Swaziland, what happened there with Swati people. Our brother Ezra, he was here to share with us what is happening there. Spoke about what happened in Tunisia. We spoke about what is happening in Nigeria, in Congo. And every time I'm seeing these things, man, they take my energy away. Because crisis, man. Like, it's like the continent of crisis. Sometimes I'm like, God, why this? Why this? Of course, it's not God's fault. So don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming God, but I'm asking, like, God, why Africa? Why Africa? Like, why we have to go through this all the time? Why? Yes, we went through this when we were colonized, and now it's 100 years later, but we are still facing this stuff. Okay, 100 years is too much. 50, 60 years later, but we're still experiencing we're still having all these crises. Who are we gonna blame? Who to blame? Who to blame, guys? Who to blame if when they were here, we we're going through the same thing. They are gone, we're going through the same thing. That's why, man, it doesn't give them the point to come and to colonize us anyways. But how are we gonna get through this? Honestly, like, how can we get through this? Guys, please, like, really, if you have an idea, please share, because man, the reason why I started this One Africa Forum is because, man, this is one of the ways that I think that we can get through this if we're united, man, if we're one. You have asked for both parts to sit down and to talk immediately, because man, when these things happen, I don't know why people, they only care about leadership. I don't know why when you take over the government and having this coup in the nation, you just care about that position. Man, you don't care about people. Don't care about people, that they will lose. They will not have a place to sleep. They will not have a food to eat. They will lose their stuff that they're having. Why you don't think about that? Why you don't think about the consequences that is going to happen with innocent people in your country? Because those are people who are struggling, kids. When you're going on a war, I can run, I can drive, I can run, I can go to another country immediately. I can take a plane, I can run. But what about kids? What about those kids who are on the street? They don't have places to live. Where are they gonna? So sometimes I'm asking myself. That's why we're having this conversation. Like, why? Like, why, guys, why? That's why people they. That's why they cannot stop putting their nose into our business. Because these things, man, they seems like they never end. It's crisis, just like Brother Bonjour say here. It's crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis. Man, I wanted to run away, but I see my brother Ezra is here. Man, I was already done. Dan Omoja, I appreciate, man, for your super chat. Ezra, I was actually signing out. I was actually signing out. But, you're here. I cannot sign out without, let you share your thoughts and just having this. I think you heard what I was sharing. Brother,
Yeah,
welcome. It's good to see you.
I was listening. It's just I was just wrapping up with something, so hence I could not
Let me connect this.
fully connect earlier when you started.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mika?
Let me connect with that. Let you.
Can you hear me now?
Let me connect this.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now, right? Yeah, man. I've been listening. It's just I was just wrapping up something that I was busy with. I even joined the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. Mika, what an interesting topic about when will this stop? And I also agree with
Mm-hmm.
Banjul Essence comment there about um, some people were encouraged to rebel against their leader for democracy, and then they never recovered. Then it's just crisis upon crisis. Um, okay, on. Yes. Can you hear me now on the other device? Can't hear you.
All right, now you can hear me, right?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, Ezra. Go on.
Yes, I was saying like I agree with the comment by Banjul Lessons about
Mm-hmm.
people maybe being sponsored or encouraged to fight their own government in the name of democracy, but then they destroy their country in such a way that some countries fail to recover after that. It just divides a country even further than when maybe a certain party or a certain group was in power. And I don't know, like how we can find ways for Africa to as diverse as we are, like finding ways that will work for each and every country in such a way that it will not break people, but at the same time, the issue as well is who funds some of the different. Because when you look at some of these wars or people that rise against their government at times, it's like there's a funding, there's a be it military in terms of guns, or even media wise, how they can play the media in such a way that they can push a narrative and people can believe that narrative and then demonize the one party without hearing both parties. And
mm,
you find that it breaks a country away, because sometimes a trend, for example, let's say people rise now, protest, whatever, they push pressure on their government, and then everyone internationally, we seeing news, and when we are looking at the coverage of the protesters, we see them as the victims, and then you only realize afterwards when they've taken power or they are now in government that no, man, something was wrong, which means that it wasn't really the notion of the whole country. There were other people who didn't really believe in that war or didn't believe in those protests. It was a certain a section of society, but because they got a lot of media and international media coverage, it ended up looking as if the current government is oppressing its own people, or it's oppressing a certain group of people, and they make it in such a way that it's the whole country that is against whoever is in power at that point. And we only realize that once that the other people come into power, be it in a coup or in international pressure, maybe a president steps down of that country, and then we
mm,
realize that no, there's the whoever steps down, he still has a lot of support as well. um and you find that now it breaks down a country, and people takes they go into military action being taken on both fronts, fighting for the country or fighting for the influence and the power of a country. And those are the things that really, when you look at them, you ask yourself, and in all these wars, Mika, I don't know if we've ever, as Africans, ever asked ourselves who
mm,
funds this. There's never like commissions to investigate how did people get guns, how did things come into the country after the war or even during the war, who's funding the whole military operation in a country, you know and some people might say, no, those people are selling illegal diamonds or illegal gold mines and all that stuff. But I doubt that it's the whole truth. There's more to it,
mm,
because I mean, to just procuring guns. I mean, it should be a tedious job. It's not something that you can just wake up to tomorrow and say you're buying guns from America, wherever. There has to be a lot of security measure being taken. What company you are, what are you gonna use it for, all those things. But
mm,
you even think maybe, as other people will always say, that there's always a conspiracy. Military companies that manufacture weapons, they also manufacture wars.
mm,
They sponsor wars
mm,
for them to be in business, because imagine if they are not. Very few people are buying military equipment, or not upgrading their military equipment, which means business is not really as big as and maybe sales are not as high as they will want it to be. So
mm,
things like that. I wonder if in Africa we can have uh, sort of a commission, whatever. Hey, you should to also monitor everyone, whether you're coming in a queue, who's supporting you, regardless of, maybe they can say no, it's France, but let's find out
mm,
how did these people get guns, you know,
mm,
especially if, let's say, there are people who are coming outside of the military, for example. Suddenly they have a military wing, like from nowhere. Like, these people who started as protesters, now they are now carrying guns, waiting to fight. I mean, getting ready to fight their own government. So
mm,
such things, I think, if we can maybe ask and try to find out these things of who funds all these things. There's no those operations. There has to be
mm.
funders. There's never
No.
such movements without people behind them. I think Professor Ezra once
Mm,
said it, that there's the hidden people, hidden faces, and there's also
mm,
the forefront forces where some people you might see them as spokesperson for these people, but you find there's like other people who are
mm,
funding all these people, but they're very quiet. They can be maybe in other countries
mm,
overseas, or they can even be in the country, but they're just sparking those
mm,
protests. I mean, or funding people to go and because in Africa it's easy to start a protest in our continent if you had to just observe how so many people are out there who are not in formal jobs. Some people are just for informal
mm,
traders, just selling stuff on the roads or whatever and whatever. Others are not doing anything. Others they're graduates sitting trying to find jobs. So it's easy to recruit in
mm,
Africa manpower because you can easily get people to do that job. So
mm,
you ask yourself, I
mm,
mean, how does one influence people to get to that point? But also, it's also another issue where it's exposing a lot of governments that there's issues with youths are not being people are not satisfied within their own countries. Many people have so many issues that they think their own governments are not doing. Because if you had to look at it like in all honesty or in our own observations, if people can really say are they happy with their own country in terms of how their government is run and how it's helping everyone, not just few people. If anyone can just take
yeah.
themselves out of, "Well, I'm in a system that is working, I'm in a work environment, or I'm in a business, I'm doing well." If you had to
Mm,
take yourself out and just say, let me see if I look at the general in my country, is my government
mm,
really developing as fast or as it should, or is it meeting the people's need, or people are afraid to sometimes even vote their own, the party that liberate the country, or the parties that have always been popular in the country.
mm,
So things like that. I mean, it's easy to fund such operations sometimes, and it exposes us in a lot of ways that, I mean, how do people get funding? It's another question, and that can also try as we're trying to find out how when will this stop? Because if things
mm,
are not investigated in terms of who funds some of the wars in Africa, who that information I'm sure Mika is available. You understand? And
mm,
sometimes it might not be
yeah.
maybe in the general public, since we with those Pandora leaks where there's a lot of
Mm,
offshore accounts, trust funds that are out there that maybe people are buying using those accounts that are not in the country. It's not easy to even trace some of the things until you really go deeper into looking at the finances and also probing military companies that are manufacturing weapons in the world to say, let's see your books, open your books, let's really see who are your clients if possible, as much as yes there's confidentiality clauses, but as governments they have power to see that, hey, what's happening here, who are you funding? I mean, some of the stuff, even though they come as a legit business, maybe a company from
mm,
so and so, maybe based in Singapore, is buying for somebody who's based in DRC. They need to find that trace can somehow end up being traced, because I've seen traces where they even trace some of the stuff that go to North Korea. Ships that
mm,
you find it's a company based in China is buying
mm,
for something for North Korea, using as sort of a shell
mm,
company, but based in another country. But the goods never go to that
yeah.
country where the offices are. They go
Mm,
somehow going, it will lend to that country, but the business was done with a company that's based in a
mm,
so-called maybe a country where um, it's hard to really suspect that there is illegal business that is being done in those countries, because you get a company legit
mm,
I mean, registered funds there, and then they go and buy to those countries, because they know that if you go to America, obviously, there's countries that are they red flag, they are banned from military purchases. They can't buy from American military companies, but they'll know that how they can front the
mm,
company to go and make business in those countries. Even through this shell companies,
yeah.
is the same thing in a way that is funding some of the wars and uprising sometimes. Because you ask yourself,
Mm,
how do these people, like somebody will just rise from nowhere, but he has all the resources to challenge his government suddenly, you know? And not that we
yeah.
saying people should not rise against their government or hold them accountable.
Yeah.
We should still, people should
Mm,
do that, and they have the right to protest. But let's also look at it thoroughly in terms of what is it in the country, why some of the things are being funded. Is it because other people didn't get deals in those countries? What's happening, you know? But I think Professor Kur is here. Maybe he might break it down for us academically, you know?
Professor Kuru
Mr.
is right
Isra
here.
and
Professor
Mr.
Kuru,
Mika.
Professor Kuru.
What up, what up, what up, guys? Man, it's good to see you
Professor.
guys.
what up, brother?
How are you guys?
All good, Prof.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
freezing. I'm freezing to death, man. It's
Oh,
a big cold here,
Oh.
so
wow.
yeah.
Are you in the highlands or what?
I'm sorry.
Are you in the highlands? Are you in
Cold
the
in Ethiopia
highlands or what?
right now.
Oh, okay. Because it's at high
yeah,
altitude, right?
yeah. Sorry, guys, but these days I don't know what is happening with the internet in our area. So it's really breaking up. So I cannot really just even
No worries, no worries.
the voice now like the sound what I'm hearing is just it's breaking up to some extent. But I'll try to
Oh,
give
I'm
yeah.
actually
But
that's not only you, even me here. Like it's breaking out sometimes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not only you, but even me, it's breaking out actually.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the
So
sound.
guys, so
Mm.
I think Israel asked a very important question, right? Like who fund who fund this, right? We talked about the Sudanese,
Mhm.
and I heard the news early early this morning. I think the prime minister is Hamdok, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Mm.
he's under house arrest, or there is a coup or something like that. If I'm not mistaken,
Mm.
right?
Mm,
So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are talking. It's become an issue in Ethiopia currently because a lot of people are talking. I mean, what does that imply to Ethiopia, right? Like the insecurity and the uncertainty in Sudan is really gonna affect Ethiopia also in a big time because, as you guys know, like Sudan has occupied a territory in Africa. I'm sorry, in Ethiopia called Al Fashqa. It's a very fertile,
Mm.
which is in the borders of Ethiopia and Sudan. And the Sudan military has actually because of the war in Tigray, so a lot of the military,
Mm.
Ethiopian military, moved to that area, and the Sudanese government decided that we were going to take Al Fashqa, and because of there is a dispute, they say there is a dispute, territorial dispute that was dated like uh, a while ago, right? So now that is the situation, but that situation for a brother that really don't know what is really happening in that region. So you have to understand the geopolitics, like what is really happening. Like why did Sudan make that move? You have to understand that. I mean, that has created and that has really played a part because that move was orchestrated by which the Al Burhan, the military leader that is currently in Sudan. So that has to do with the geopolitics of that region. If you really paid attention to what is happening in Egypt, and because of the Nile, because of the water dispute, it's not a dispute actually, but it's just the lot of inquiries made by Egypt and Sudan about the dam. So that Egypt has made it very intentional to make sure that peace does not really happen in that area. Egypt, they officially declared this, right? So they officially declared this, and they uh, categorized Ethiopian as a threat. So this is really what is really happening. The Sudan has been actually laid by Egyptians right now, currently. So all the moves that is made by the Sudanese and the Egypt is has to do with this uh, uh, connection. So you have to understand that, and also America also play part in this orchestration, right? So I mean, uh, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of parties play part. It's not like not we don't say like who funded this, but it is clear. It's becoming clear now. Becoming clear. I'm not trying to like say, oh, Egypt did this or Egypt did that, but this is what they say. With the Egyptians, they actually made it public to us that this is what they really want in that area. So I mean, this is really, really sad, but I mean, this is the situation that is happening right now, and as a result, yeah, there is a very dispute that has happened between the two regimes, the civilian leader and the military leader between Sudan and the Sudanese leaders. So that's really what is happening in Sudan. So I mean, this is where we are currently, and I think that's going to pose an even greater threat to Ethiopia to some extent, because now the unstable Sudan will actually make the whole region unstable even further. So that's something that everybody's really uh, are really paying close attention currently in Ethiopia. So yeah, who fund that? America. There's the East African the director, the American East African the director called Blinken. His name is, I think his name is Blinken, right? So he just made a visit to Sudan, and I mean, a lot of things really happened there also. I mean, that has to be played part by them also. So I really don't want to go too deep into this, but just the whole general what is happening in Sudan. So they have their own turmoil, and at the same time they have this what you call it internal dispute. They have their own internal dispute, but at the same time they have it has to do with Egypt, with Ethiopian, Egypt, and Sudan, and also there is Eritrea and to some extent. So this is the whole political situation really has to be clear for our brothers and sisters out there. So I just want to point that out.
Mm. Wow, interesting. What you're saying, Prof. Kuru, about the geopolitics of that region, and how it can cause how like a lot of there's interest. I'll assume that it's more to do with like sort of what they call proxy wars and stuff.
Proxy, definitely. It's a proxy
Mm.
war. It's a
Proxy war,
proxy
right?
war. Yeah, because when you see when you talk about the Nile, it's like the Nile is as the Egyptians called it, their source of existence for them, right?
Mm.
The Nile.
Mhm.
And the
Mm.
Nile, it originated like 80% of the water. Like, people really don't know this one.
Mm.
It's funny when people talk about the Nile, they say like there's a Nile and there is a white Nile, right? So when we talk
Yeah.
about
Mm.
the Blue Nile comes from 80% of the Blue Nile comes from Ethiopia.
Mm.
From the Nile, 80% of the
Mm.
water source come from Ethiopia.
Mm.
So Ethiopia makes it a source of the Nile,
Mm.
right? But in
Mm.
in in, a, in, a, in Egyptian folklore, they say like the Nile, Egypt is the son of the Nile, right?
Mm.
It's very interesting. To be honest with you, I'm really interested about this Egyptian, the culture, right? The tradition, stuff like that. I'm really fascinated about it. So I just do some research on Egyptology, stuff like that, right? So it's really
Mm.
everything is tied to them. For they say like our civilization sprung out of the night, stuff like that, right? It's very
Mm.
interesting. But at the same
Mm.
time, they intentionally and deliberately denied the source of the Nile. The source of the Nile, especially one, It comes from Ethiopia. Its origin is from Ethiopia. Ethiopia, for those of you who really don't know, Ethiopia is a very mountainous country. So be blessed by God. So it has like the source of the water for East, like most of the East African countries, like it originates from Ethiopia and flows to other areas, right? So this is the issue with the geopolitics of that region, and also because of the Red Sea, like most of the export and import that like almost like 40% of the world's import and export passes through the Red Sea. So that is very sensitive area, the Red Sea, right? You have to understand that also. And also there's the water issue that affects also Saudi Arabia. There is a water issue that affects all the Arab nations because water is really scarce there, right? And if you go to Sudan, right? Yeah, well, you have to understand the even further the political situation in Sudan. For example, United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia made a huge investment. You can see a huge investment in Sudan agriculture with irrigation and stuff like that. So you have to see that. A huge like when we talk about like agriculture, it's a huge. They also made an investment in Ethiopia also, right? There is this richest guy in Ethiopia called Alamudi, which is Muhammad Alamudi, right? So which is I think he's the 43 or 44 richest person on earth. This guy, he's half Ethiopian, half Saudi, right? He also made.
I think I've read about him. Yeah.
I'm sure you do. And he also made an investment in Ethiopia. So the Saudis made an investment in Sudan, and the Saudis made an investment in Ethiopia. The Saudi and the United Arab Emirates also made an investment there. And mind you, this just let alone just this, because of this, and they want to protect their investment, right? So they have a very vested interest in Sudan. What's really happening in Sudan? So this one of the hands that really do the shifting, right? You have to understand that also. And also you have Egypt from the Nile, huh? She's doing the funding, all those kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's a very interconnected, complex situation that is really happening in that area. This become a very sensitive area also. And last time I mentioned Djibouti, for example. Djibouti is a very, very tiny country in East Africa, right? Djibouti. And if you see Djibouti, guys, like in Africa, in other African countries, like say it's Senegal, Ghana, name it, you only have like 2 or 3, maximum to 4. I don't think there is 4, but I think the maximum is 3 military bases of the Western countries, right? Not only the Western countries, name it China, Japan, or something like that. But if you go to Djibouti, you can find 8 military bases. That teeny country have 8 military bases. Can you imagine?
What you saying, Professor?
Japan is
really
there.
having hard time to hear because the sound is cutting like all the time, so I don't really like even get what you guys are talking about. That's why I was leaving sometimes. But I hope we're still talking about the same thing, right?
Okay, I think we lost Mika there for a while.
Yeah,
I think he's trying to reconnect and whatnot. Yeah, continue, Prof. Kuru.
Yeah, I mean that is what happened. What is happening there, man? It's really, really we are in a very what you call it, like a very critical stage.
Professor Kuru.
I think it's gone to Ezra. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think we just lost Prof. Kuru as well just now. He made some good points. I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you know, it's cutting like all the time, the
Mm,
sound and everything, so it's kind of hard to hear.
mm,
But maybe I should do this. Can you try to log in again?
okay, let me log out and then log in again.
Okay. Yeah, let me try that, and then I'll wait for you. Hello.
Mika,
Hey, Kuru.
now I can see you clearly.
All right. Yeah. I think I'm having trouble with. I don't know as well,
Connection.
because every time when I have, like, I don't know if it's this software. It's yeah. But
Mika,
we
I
have to
think
wrap.
the guys that providing the connection in our country, I think they moved to you, I guess.
Okay. Okay. I think we need to. I think we need to move towards the end now because today I just wanted to be very short conversation to talk about it. And actually, when Ezra was coming, I was already done. Like I was leaving, and then he came, online, so I couldn't just let him, go like that. That's why we continue to talk. But I want us to wrap up, Kuru. If you have anything, because today, I mean, at the beginning I gave the entire picture of what I even read the article here with everyone and gave the little bit of picture of what is going on and share my opinion. And there's two things that I suggested what we can do about Sudan situation. And first thing I said, guys, I think we have to pray for Sudan. That's one thing that we can do. Forget about everything that is going on in my country, in that country, but just for a moment, let's take a moment and do that. And then the second thing I say that if you can get a time to, if you're using social media, if you can get time to let them know that you're standing with them. Let them know that because when you're going through something, it's really hard when you know that you're going through that alone. But if you know that there are people who are standing with me, then it change everything, right? It changes everything. So that was my another request, to Swahili Nation family. And then the last one, it was just a conversation that we are having. That all right, we are having about these and these crises that are happening again and again in Africa every single day. And I hate the fact that I come here and I talk about these things all the time. Today I will talk about Ethiopia. Tomorrow I'll talk about Sudan. Tomorrow I'll talk about Somalia. I'll talk about Nigeria. Talk about Congo, and it's the same thing, right? It's kind of like we talk about the same thing, and maybe that's what we are supposed to do here in One Africa Forum. But also we should try to find the solution. How can we really get out of this? And that was my only question I asked at the end. And I would like to ask you guys this question for the last time, so that we may actually sign out as well. How can we get out of this, and not just short term, but in a long time? Because all these crises that are going on and everything that is going on, my desire is to know how can we get out of this. Maybe there's no one way to get out of this, but still I want to know your opinion, guys. Like, how can we get out of this crisis that we are talking about every single time? And it's going to be crazy for us to say that, you know what, we don't want you guys to be involved in our issue. But before saying that, I think we have to get things figured out. If we don't have these issues, then we'll see how they're going to come and be involved in our issues. Because it's kind of like, it doesn't make sense if we're telling UN, United Nations, that please don't come our issues. We're going to deal with our issues. But we always have issues that are happening all the time. They always come like crisis everywhere right now in Africa. So even for themselves, they feel like this is urgent. We gotta go and do something, say something about this. We gotta provide support, right? So it's ridiculous us saying that, don't interfere, let us handle this. But Africa Union is there. It seems like nothing really is being handled because these things are happening again and again and again. Even them, UN, they're coming, they cannot even handle because it's happening again and again and again. There's a definite an issue that is going on within our continent and within our countries, and that we cannot seem to get over it. We cannot seem to get a way through. But I don't want this to be the only thing we talk about all the time. I don't want this to be the future of Africa. that is crisis and the continent of crisis. Because that is what happened, Ezra. Like, man, that is what is happening. And today, I even say, you join at the beginning, you say, that's the reason why I don't have energy. Because when I go and check the news, these things are happening all the time. Every single day, it's new thing. It's happening. Like today, we're talking about Sudan. Tomorrow, we're talking about something else that is happening. Right, brother? So it's really, and I say that sometimes I ask, like, God, why this is happening to Africa? I know you were there. I know you're protecting us, but why it has to be this way? Why it feels like Africa was meant to go through this crisis? You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy that we were going through this when we had colonialism, and now we are going through this. They're not even there. This is what makes them think that, you know, we better go there and colonize you guys because you don't even know how to lead yourself. You don't know how to lead your way. Like you have leadership, you have leaders, but you always have these issues. You always fight for the power and you forget about your people, and people are dying with anger. Then WHO, they have to come to help. So all this international organization, they have to come to help. You know what I'm saying? So we can, sometimes I even feel, that's why sometimes I say the other day before that, you know, let's first appreciate these international organizations. Because regardless of their agenda coming and do things, but they still help some people, right? They still save some people. But the thing is, I'm getting frustrated with things that are happening and see that, yes, on the other side, these people are coming and take advantage of the situation, that they sometimes even they have themselves, they caused it to happen. But then when we're trying to find a solution and look at the solution, we can simply say that, you know what, guys, what if we don't have these issues? If we don't have these things that are happening, these people, they're going to find another way maybe to come, but they're not really the issue. Right now, we have to look deep in ourselves. And I gotta say, I gotta be careful saying this. When I'm saying that they're not really the issue, I don't mean that everything that they're doing is right. But I'm saying maybe we have to look deep inside in ourselves. If somebody come to your country and, you know, tell you to stand against your government to fight for democracy, like the thing that Essence shared before, which is really is happening, and you agree to fight against your government because of democracy, and then your country becomes like worse than ever before, like what happened in Libya, right? Or what is happening in Libya right now, then whose fault is that? Is it someone who comes and tell you to do something? Or is it you who does something? Whose fault is that? Like, does it make sense? Like, if somebody come to me, for example, let's take an example of how Satan went to talk to Adam and Eve, right? Ezra, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Okay, I think
I'm
your
still here.
camera was, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's take an example. What happened in the Garden of Eden? Enemy went to Eve and told her. He told her that, you know what, this and this eat. And Eve, what she did, she went to eat the fruit that God told her not to eat, told them not to eat, actually told her husband not to eat, and she knew about it. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? At the end of the day, God, he came and he gave he actually he gave all this sort of punishment, you know, to Adam, to Eve, and to everybody, because it was their fault. Because when God was there, he didn't talk to Satan, he didn't talk to snake. No, he gave that authority to Adam, and he told him that not do this and this and that. But he is the one that he went behind the back and he did something else. And when God went there and asked him about, you know what, this and this and that, what Adam say? Adam was like, it's because of this woman you gave it to me. And God, he went to woman. The woman say, oh, it's because of this man you gave it to me. You know what I'm saying? Because of this snake. He said, because of this snake. So everybody is blaming someone else. And I don't want us to be those kind of people that blame, because the Western influence, Eastern influence, it will always be there. They're always putting nose into everybody's else business. Look at US. They always speak about everything that happened throughout the world. I was talking to my friend, my Australian friend. She said right now they realize that, oh, Chinese, they were trying to actually take over their country in like neo-colonialism I'm talking about, by taking all these projects, doing all these things that they're doing in Africa and some other part. They're doing that in Australia too. But those guys, they had to wake up, and right now they're trying to. That I mean, it reached the point where they realized that, oh my goodness, actually all these projects are taken by this. No, this is not good. We are being very dependent to these people, so we have to stop this, right? So there seems to wake up, and they do that. And one thing that she told me as well, she said, you know what, in Australia, like there are people that were taken accountable because of corruption and everything that they've done. But the question it was not like, why did you guys do this? The question, it was people that were questioning why we didn't find this soon. Like why we are catching them today, why we didn't catch them when they started to steal for the government. You see the mentality it is today in our governments. If someone is stealing something, you will see the leader of the country actually changing position. Like he's taking you leader from this position, is bringing you to another sector. That means he's telling you, okay, you stole here enough, go and steal in another sector instead of sucking these people out. You know what I'm saying? So we can keep pointing fingers for all these issues that are happening, influenced by the West, influenced by the Eastern. But whose fault is this? Because us as Africans, we have a choice to say no to what you're saying to us. If you want us to stand against our government, and we see things are going well, you want us to stand against the government for the name of democracy, we have a choice to say no. But if we agree, we say yes, and then we face consequences, we cannot blame them. We made a decision, and we did that for our own. Yes, we received support from there, but we made a decision. And that's why I'm trying to figure out, or to ask that, how can we truly get out of this situation? There must be a way out.
Very true, Mika, what you're saying, that we also have a part and responsibility as countries in our decision making. It can't be that every time it's no foreign interferences, it's the West, it's the East, we need to get to a point where we also take a responsibility of our countries and decisions made by leadership. I think we had something similar to this topic, where somebody said our institution of justice in our continent is one of the it's one of the weakest structure of government that is there. Hence, people can get out scot-free without even being accounted for what they did under their leadership, how much money was lost under their leadership to the country, and again, corruption that happened during somebody's tenure, things like that are not being accounted, that the law cannot even bite. It's like when somebody becomes a president or a leader or a minister, whatever, they become now almost the justice. They can rule, and they can even turn the courts, instead of the courts of the land being independent, to even account, and for people to know the structures of their government, how they can make the leaders account for them being in office, for them a corruption scandal happening under their watch. What did they do? How was it resolved? Matters will just hear that, oh, such and such project, there was corruption too. Next thing, it's so much noise, and then suddenly it goes down. It quite quiet. Then they bring another story to silence the other story. I think our justice systems as well, they are playing a role in terms of how we can help. If they are not strong, there's no way that our leaders can be they can account for. They know that even if I do this, I'm friends with the president. We drink coffee together. We play golf together over the weekends. Our families know each other. The president will back me up because I support his campaigns. All those things, And if governments in our continent, where our judicial systems were strong enough to have structures and also independent bodies that can investigate our governments, where people cannot be killed. Okay, that will always happen, but whereby like there's places where structures that can investigate corruption in the country as well. You understand? Besides the judicial system, where they have to get a case, obviously, before they can start saying so and so, you are someone to come to court.
come and account for your corruption scandals and whatnot and whatnot. That's one part of our judicial systems that is not working. It's like the people who have become in leadership, they are now the supreme leader of a country. It's like a country now becomes like their own household. It's like when somebody comes to power, it's like this is like you are his kids. You listen to the father. He's the head of the house. If you mess up, you get smacked around or you get chased out of that house. So if we can get some of those things like our judicial systems as well, where they can account, or people can account, you can open a case against our leaders. If a leader is wrong, he did something illegal, he took money, or he can account, his campaigns came out of business, out of government, things like that. A lot of things can happen. That's why what Professor Ezra said the other day, Mika, I don't know if you still remember. He said, I'm paraphrasing now, but he said something along the lines of, in the West, there is corruption, but they've mastered the way to make it in such a way that the greed doesn't overtake them. There's a certain law that they know. They know that if I go above this step, I need to account. I'll be taken to court. I might be jailed. They know that I can do things, but certain things, there's a limit to it. So in our continent, we still have a lot of people who still have the greed overtakes them so much in such a way that they forget about the whole thing of the country. And again, they don't have even structures to account that can say, President, you are summoned. You understand? And also this thing of also having governments, people that have sort of foot soldiers, like when other presidents get arrested or something, then there's people who will go and fight for him, ban things in the country, things like that. Where people need to, yes, it's within your legal right to go protest, but now to ban the country or try to hold the government into, or running the structure of government into ransom, it's things like that really don't work. We don't have functioning structures in our government, Mika. Let's just be honest. We don't have functioning structures in our government. The reason why the other countries are doing better than us, we don't have structural functions that really function. We don't have structures in place. We have structures that are just idle. They're just islands. Like when it's not our system of government, they're not talking to each other as well in most African countries. You understand? You find that when you look at other structures, not that you have to copy, but why other systems are working and ours are not working. It's because we have sort of independent structures, but instead of those structures to work within each other, they don't. You understand? You find that, yes, they will just do a collaboration there and there, but they're so far attached and far from each other in such a way that they cannot make a system that can really sync and have a government that's working in, like the criminal justice, the judiciary, the police, everything, all the what we call a country. Those things don't even talk to each other. You understand? So if you look at maybe, for example, transport, you understand? Transport, like things like that, like, or power, things that they don't even communicate. Like, unlike in the West, where they know that you need power to power the trains. Where does everything communicate? Where does everything connect to each other to make a government? So in our countries, that's the problem, where people cannot account others. And also, maybe if we're saying we as Africa we want democracy might not work for everyone in terms of democracy doesn't mean development, doesn't really equate to development. Yes, we've seen other models where democracy has worked into their favor, but we've seen other countries. Look at China; it's a one party state, but they're doing well economically because they can channel the people and say we're doing this. You understand? So, and we are, as Africans, we're trying to make a system whereby we can say we are bringing democracy. We think the American version or the European version is what we need. But you look at countries like Libya, as we made an example earlier. Libya was also sort of a one-party state in a way, and was doing well. The man can deliver in terms of the goods. They can deliver roads, can deliver oil, can deliver water for the country. As they will make a joke, apparently they used to say water is more expensive than oil in Libya. You understand? So in such a way that sometimes it's not all about, even leaders that are in there, even if I may use President Paul Kagame, he's been there for long in power. You understand? For example, now he's still celebrated, but for how long will he be celebrated? Those are the things that one needs to also look in the future. because one bad decision can change his legacy altogether. You understand? How can a country work without one person being the boogeyman or the man running a country for so long? Yeah, as much as you're running well, but let's look at let's have the foresight to see that our countries can function even without us. A country can function without a one person.
Of
Even that
course.
person leaves or dies, people won't fight for
Yeah.
positions. They know we can run this ship. We don't really run. It's not run by one person. That's why we still have presidents that have been in power for 40 years or 30 years in some countries, because and maybe they believe that if I leave, no one can do this better. But that's the time to groom other leaders to come and take over, not have the jealousy to say these guys are young, whatever. Give the young people a chance, groom them in such a way that even when you're gone, it's like you running a house. I think if in a country, as countries in Africa, if you can think of our house, how we run our household, to say even if I'm not in my house, my kids know they need to wash the dishes, they need to sweep, they need to do this, they need to do this. It's something that you instill in your house. But if you don't instill any culture as a leader, it's pointless. Once the father is not around, they will fight for to be the father in the house, the kids. You'll find them beating one another. That's what's happening in Africa, because our household is not, there's no system, there's no laws that we've placed ourselves and standards that we've placed ourselves as Africans to say, this is how we live in this house. We clean, we make sure that our environment is clean, we do this, we are building this as a house, as a family. We all need to go to school. If this one is struggling, we need to help him like this. We don't have such systems. It's just everyone is like those families where the kids, when they wake up, everyone is just out. Yeah, you don't even know where the brother is. He's somewhere. Then when he comes, like one comes drunk, one comes sober, it's just chaos. That's what's happening. Like our houses are not in order in Africa. That's our problem, Mika. Hence, there's this order whereby it's like when the father dies, that's when you really see if the father instilled a culture in the kids to run their house without having to fight before they can get things together. Currently, it's like our forefathers, when they took us from independence, they didn't give us one thing that was missing was for us to teach us how we're going to run this ship, how we develop ourselves as what do you call this, as countries, we run our countries without them when they're no longer here. How are we going to run this thing? Do we know, did they leave something that we can continue the legacy and even do it better? But Professor Kuru,
Man, I'm just listening with what you were saying, and I was just listening to what Mika said, and then okay, so I mean, we were talking about the problem, right? We were talking about what is really happening in the continent, guys. I mean, okay, so I understand, because first we need to create awareness for people, like what is really going on, so that people have grasp of the reality. But at the same time, I mean, let's not dwell on the problems. Like, of course, we need to be aware. What is the saying? Like, half of the battle won when you identify what the problem is, right? So, okay, guys, this is what I'm just trying to suggest, Mika, right? So you say like,
Yeah.
oh, my energy is being drained because of I was talking about this, all the war and stuff like that, right? Okay, so you mentioned one important point, very important point. You mentioned that you said people are creature of choice, right?
Yeah.
So when people choose, choice means there's two alternatives, and you choose one, right? Isn't that what you said? So when you choose, like for example, good, you have to know that there is such thing called bad or evil, right? Good and
Yeah.
evil, right? So okay, let's not focus on the bad, okay? Because we're talking about the bad things. Like this is what happened to us. This is
Yeah.
what happened to us, okay? Okay, of course that's good to analyze and to synthesize and whatever, right? We understand that. But let's focus on the, like, how can we change Africa, right?
Exactly.
Like let's talk about empowerment. Let's talk about, like,
Like,
if you're not economically strong, nobody will take you seriously. You can take an example of Turkey, for example. Today, what happened to Turkey? He said, like, all the 10 embassies that are residing in Turkey. He said, like, get out of my country because you are intruding in my current affairs. right? And what happened to what the other countries, like the 10 countries, what they did? They say like, oh, really sorry, guys. Sir, we please never again, huh? We won't intrude in your internal affairs, right? This is what happened because respect comes from economically empowered. When you are economically empowered, then you will gain respect, right? That's the reality, guys. Like a period. That's the reality that we're currently in. So let's talk about like how we can empower. Let's start small, okay? Let's start small in different areas. How can we do that, Mika? How can we do that? Empowerment. So it could be, for example, like the take, right? We have this amazing girl in Ethiopia. She's I think she's in early 20s, 25 maybe, maximum 25. She's brilliant, man. I'm sure I will send a link to you, Isra.
Yeah, please do.
She's changing the game here. Like, just we have this young people that are doing startups and stuff like that, right? They're changing the game here, right? Let's talk about them, okay? So how can we empower? Because we know that the only solution is if we become economically empowered. So let's think of ideas like how can we economically like give some ideas to people out there what really can make a difference, right? Why don't we focus on that, right? Why don't we talk tech startups in South Africa? Dang, I'm sure they have in Tanzania also. Well, what about in Rwanda? My God, there are people who would change the game. Let's talk about them. Let's give the fire and the energy to the good, not the bad. Because whenever be aware of this, right? When people choose bad, there's also people who choose good. When people choose good, there's also people who choose bad, like corruption and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Let's not focus on that. And please, Mika, drink some coffee now. Okay?
Today, we're done for
Professor
today.
Kuru.
We're done.
Professor Kuru.
Professor Kuru.
Professor Kuru. Mika, we know that Ethiopians also have some of the best coffee in the world.
Tell him, please tell him.
And Mika as well. They in just below Mount Kilimanjaro. I know there's some coffee plantations there. He needs to have some of that
true.
coffee. You should, and you need to.
Yeah.
Professor Kuru, you should send to me some coffee, some Ethiopian coffee. I'm in Tanzania right now. This is our Professor
We got
Kuru.
you, man. The coffee.
You're a professor.
No problem. No problem.
Guys, what you just said now, right? What Professor Kuru just said, Mika, as well, is he just mentioned something very important about the positivity. Like he can show us something that the coffees that is being made there by the local people. Sometimes come and present it. Maybe have one person if they want to join, and Mika can just chair and obviously just ask some questions. Maybe we can translate if it's all people and whatnot. Even Mika yourself from your region, if there's somebody, sometimes just bring them in, expose them to the world. I'll also do the same. Then we can. What Professor Kuri is saying is very important as well, But sorry, Prof.
It is.
Continue. Sorry.
No, definitely, man.
Let's talk about why Ethiopian coffee is the best in the world. You can come and talk about it.
And
I
can come here and talk about why Tanzania is the best destination for tourism.
Israel, you know why Mika said this? You know why Mika said this? You know why? Because he's planning to open a coffee shop. So
of course, man. I have that plan. Convince me, Convince me. I want to have Ethiopian coffee in my cafe,
I tell you guys, honestly, like they're like some very creative like restaurants, like entrepreneurs. They are doing a very interesting things in the city, like the restaurants and stuff like that. Like coffee shops. You can mention the tech. You can mention like different investment. There are social enterprises, the social enterprises that are really making a difference at the same time contributing to the society, stuff like that. We can talk about those kind of stuff, right? It should not be like a big initiative, but like they're like, for example, there's this lady called Bethlehem, where she owned a shoe company called Soul Rebels, right? The main this is what she did. Like she took tires, like the tires from from car tires, right? And she took traditional Ethiopian and she put it on the tire and she made shoes.
Yeah, I know
And
those
guess
kind of
what?
shoes.
Yeah, from that profit, she made she started to export coffee from that profit, and now she made it like a chips, like a teff. Teff is injera is the main household uh, food that we eat, right, in Ethiopia, right? But none. I'm sure nobody had really thought about like making a teff. Teff is the ingredient that you use to make injera, right? Nobody really thought about like using teff as a chips, and she's changing the game, right?
Wow.
And she's exporting. She's exporting her shoes. She's exporting theft.
This guy,
Damn, what else do you want, man?
this guy is very passionate about this. So let's do this, Kuru. All right, this is very important, Professor Kuru. Let's come back tomorrow, and do another topic. Let's do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think what you said, what you just said, it's very, very powerful. I said I felt even tired sometimes coming talk about this all the time. Of course, we're gonna talk about this, at the time, but you reminded us to focus on another side, and that is positive side, because this is what people they are talking about. And for us, of course, we're here to encourage one another to find a solution. How are we gonna get out of this? Find those kind of way. But I think we have been relying on this side for a while. And last time Professor Ezra, the other Ezra, he suggested about, talking about economics here and something. But then after then, I guess he has been busy. We haven't seen him yet. But I think this is an amazing topic you suggested, Professor Kuru. So why don't we come and give it a proper time to talk about it? I hope another crisis doesn't rise up. Good night.
Mika, can you repeat the last thing that you said?
I say I hope there will be no another crisis.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because we might be coming here to talk about something like that, and then something happens again. We're like, oh my goodness, all right. We can't ignore about
unless it becomes a series, Mika, where you dedicate I'm saying unless if you create another series where what Prof Kuru suggested, that you create a series, maybe a week of economics, tech, innovation and tech in Africa, and then and we just discussed that. Yes, we hearing this crisis. Maybe we can start and just maybe touch base on it, pray for it, and then you hit the road running on the topic at hand, which would be maybe the economic part, the innovation, what people are doing in the continent and whatnot, and maybe we can touch base on that. But just some suggestion. Yeah,
I love it. Your Excellence Ezra and Professor Kuru, I love that. So let's brainstorm. Let's brainstorm in our something, and you guys, you can share that as well. I think it'll be amazing, because these ideas, I need your brain, guys. I need your brain, and and I think that's an amazing idea. So you can just share there, and then we just take off. That's it. We just take off and have some interesting conversation here. That's good. That's really good. That's really good. So, boys, do you guys wanna? Kuru left again. So I only have one brother here. Your final thoughts, man. Your final thoughts.
Phew, my final thoughts a lot, but let me keep it short. So, yeah, as I think what Prof Kuru mentioned, that with in the midst of all this negativity, there's still positivity that we can draw inspiration from, and let's draw inspiration from the positive as well, and
Yeah.
and continue praying for the peace of each and every country, that everyone can find each other somehow to resolve their matters without no lives being lost or chaos or destroying a country. So yeah, let's draw the positive, and let's pray that everything goes well with all the nations that are having issues, and they can sit down and resolve them and build their countries instead of destroying them. Yeah, that's me in closing, Mika, today. I don't have much, but yeah, that's me today in closing.
Yeah, that's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. Since you're here again, I think let's take that moment as well to, pray for Sudan because of what is happening. And guys, as you're here on One Africa Forum, we take a moment all the time at the end to pray for Africa and things that are happening. And right now, it's an urgent call. Let's pray for that. And it doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter whatever, but whatever you are, we can take a moment and do that. It's easy to talk than to actually do something. So why don't we practice how to do something, from this moment forward? So yeah, let's go ahead and do that, and we'll be saying our final goodbyes. All right. Amen, 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 and amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yes,
Amen. Amen.
Africa will prevail in unity, and one Africa, we're right
One
here.
Africa.
One
One
Africa.
Africa.
You started that. You started that. You're excellent. I love that. You started one
Because
day like a joke. You was one Africa, and
one
so we started
Africa.
all together.
Let's talk tomorrow. Let's meet up tomorrow.
Appreciate. Ezra, don't forget to write that down in our group.
In the group. Okay, cool. We'll do that.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate
Cool.
Ezra. Have a good night and
Yes.
extend my greetings to your family.
Shalom. Thank you.
No, shalom. Bye bye. Africa, it's a time to come together. It's a time to unite. It's a time to be one. It's a time to cry with those who are crying and to celebrate with those who are celebrating, because they are all our brothers and sisters here in Africa. It's a time to feel their pain. It's a time to carry each other's burden and to give him to God. Give them to God, because we need him. We need him in Africa. All this crisis, all this stuff that's going on in Africa, we need them to be gone as soon as possible so that we may be able to stand in unity. And that's the only way we can prevail. That's the only way we can stay strong. So please, if you're still asleep, wake up from your sleep, from your sleeping. Wake up. We've spoke a lot about everything today. I see my sister here, Netsi. She's joining right now. It's good to see you. But we came to an end of our conversation today. We're going to be coming again tomorrow to talk about different topics, the brighter side. One Africa, we're not just going to be talking about the negativity. Professor Kuru, he pointed out very well, and His Excellence Ezra. So we're going to be coming back here to talk about some positive sides, right? Some positive sides. So we'll come back. Right now, every news you open talking about Sudan situation. And every time, even if Sudan, they don't have crisis right now, every time you go on the news, there are a crisis somewhere in Africa. That has to stop. And we have decision to make. You, African, I, Africa, we all have decision to make. We should make a choice today that I don't want to see this ever again. And when I say I don't want to see it ever again, that means I'm stepping up my game and I'm going to do something about it. I don't want to see this ever again. I don't want to see this crisis. So we're going to pray together. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to remind each other who we are, that we are African. And we are one Africa. There's nothing different from each other. We are the same. We have our own uniqueness. But that we cannot let that separate us. So I appreciate y'all who are joining this movement. Appreciate y'all who stood here today. I have my brother here, Michael Kumsa. I think today is the first time I actually pay attention to your, comments. So I appreciate for staying here and for your thoughts and everything that you shared. I appreciate that, means a lot. I appreciate for those who joined here today, those who commented here, the comment section. I see one brother here, Kebda Alem. You always comment a lot you have very strong opinion about different issues. And I appreciate that passion. I appreciate that passion. And we need to channel this passion into loving one another, wanting peace, and wanting united Africa. Let's channel that. It's so hard to hate somebody. The hatred you or I have towards someone, I can channel that to be love towards something. Because you're using so much energy to hate something that you shouldn't be hating. So let's not hate. Let's not hate. Hate is not an answer, but love is an answer. Let's not hate. If someone took advantage of you, don't hate. Love. Love. That love can change everything. Hate, we just force you to do revenge, and you're not going to be in a good place once you do that. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. Because hate is not who we're supposed to be. We're supposed to love. No matter what. No matter what, guys. No matter what. You can find reason to hate. You can find reason to do something else. But no matter what, we have to choose love. And we have to choose better. And we have to choose unity. For the sake of Africa. All right, guys. Appreciate. Good night, Africa. I love Africa. I hope you do too. And let's not forget to love one another and to spread peace wherever we are. And continue to keep that unity going on with everybody out there. I love you guys. I love Africa. Bye-bye. Good night.